to the tunnel and is stored there.
So the phase one of the CSO program is a large tunnel. It was actually 30 feet in diameter when we bored it out of the solid rock 300 feet below ground. And then we lined it with concrete, so it was 26 feet in diameter, and that's a fairly large tunnel. It's 3 miles long. It starts at Fields Point, runs up under Allens Avenue in the hurricane barrier, up under where they have water fire, around the Citizens Bank building, underneath the front lawn of the State House, crosses under Route 95, and ends up over by the Foundry Complex.
We, for the first time, completely filled the tunnel. It happened in a very, very large rain event. Everything worked as designed. The tunnel filled at the point it was supposed to. The gates stopped the flows from coming into the tunnel because it was filled.
With the tunnel now in place and operating, we are now able to capture up to 1.5 inches of rain before we start having overflows. There will still be some overflows, and rather than having 30 events per year that cause the bay to be closed to shellfishing, we will be able to narrow it down to 4 events per year once the entire 3 phases are in place. Now, the challenges that we have here at the Narragansett Bay Commission on an ongoing basis, or from this point forward, is we need to do the second and third phases of the CSO program, as well as we need to implement nutrient removal at our treatment plants. Within a sewage treatment plant's discharge, there are nutrients, in particular nitrogen, which can cause problems in the receiving waters. And the EPA and the DEM have required us, as well as many other facilities in Rhode Island and throughout the country, to now go through and to reduce the amounts of nitrogen that we are discharging into the environment.
Nitrogen is an oxygen-depleting compound, and in the rivers, streams, especially in coves, it presents problems because it robs oxygen from the water. With the nitrification removal is holding the sludge for a longer amount of time, having more concentrated sludge products or particles in the activated sludge tanks, and growing different kinds of microscopic organisms that aren't normally there. These microscopic organisms convert ammonia to nitrate, and that breaks down ammonia, which is the chief nitrogen compound. And the second part of the advanced treatment process is to remove that nitrate naturally within that same tank.
We have, at our Buckland Point plant, we've already implemented phase 1 of nutrient removal, and now we're going to do a subsequent phase. And at Fields Point, we're just beginning to implement the first phase of nitrogen removal at that location.
We have a very strict permit that we need to meet with water quality standards, and we're very proud to say that we meet that and exceed those standards monthly, daily actually.
The projects that we've been talking about, whether they're new projects or whether they're rehabilitating old projects, is a challenge that everyone across the country faces, especially many of the older cities. And there's very little money on the federal level to assist us in accomplishing these projects. Back in the 1970s, after the Federal Clean Water Act passed, there was a significant amount of grant money available to cities and towns to do this work. Now there is virtually none. And it's really been a difficult situation for many of the older urban communities to find the money and to put the burden on their ratepayers to pay for these projects. We need a commitment by the federal government, who keeps imposing the higher and higher levels of treatment on us, to provide a funding mechanism that we can utilize, along with some local money, to accomplish these lofty goals.
Since 1995, the success stories continue. Narragansett Bay Commission continues to be recognized for its financial management practices, and especially its educational programs, and as well as our construction accomplishments. Our employees and our staff are among the finest in the country. Our commissioners serve with a sense of mission and obligation and responsibility.
We're committed. And it's a wonderful feeling that exists here amongst all of the commissioners and the employees here at the Narragansett Bay Commission with the work that we have to do. Well, the commissioners essentially are volunteers, but they're appointees. They're appointees by gubernatorial appointees, and they're appointees from some of the mayors and cities and towns. If I had a company and I could get this brain power to work for nothing, for no compensation, That would be a big, big win.
I'm really proud and pleased to be a part of this organization. And for me, the greatest challenge was to make certain that our ratepayers got the biggest bang for the buck, that every single dollar that we spend on their behalf is a justifiable dollar, that there has to be a cost-benefit ratio for every dollar that we spend. And I'm pleased to say that I think that on any given day that we can justify all of the expenditures. We have to recognize and continue to recognize that the Bay, our most important natural resource, affects everyone in Rhode Island. It's the Narragansett Bay Commission's sentiment that to ensure the quality of the Upper Bay, that it's important to educate our children for the future. We have been recognized by the Environmental Protection Agency and our peers as having the best educational program in the country, and we need to instill in our children the importance of Narragansett Bay, teach them to have respect for those entities. We have implemented a number of educational programs. These outreach programs go into the community, they go into our schools in our district. We have field trips, poster contests. We are particularly proud of our involvement with the Children's Museum.
So the exhibit behind me is Waterways. It's the museum's most popular exhibit. It's a place where kids can explore fluid dynamics and the properties of water. There's a lock system where they can raise and lower the level of water and send boats floating through channels and mazes that they can build. It's such a fun exhibit. Kids love playing here. They love splashing and they love just getting wet. The Narragansett Bay Commission's sponsorship is so important for the upkeep of the exhibit, especially as we have more and more visitors. 500 kids using pumps every day, that's a lot of wear and tear. So the sponsorship helps us replace the pumps, keep the filtration system up to speed, replace hoses and pipes. When kids play in waterways, they're having hands-on experience with water that they might not get in other ways, and it's really a foundational experience for them, that they're developing appreciation for water and an understanding of the properties of water they might not otherwise get. Our executive director has a story of a young child who was pumping and pumping with water and then looked up and said, just this look of understanding on her face, I didn't know water was heavy. So just really understanding and appreciating what water does and how they can use it. It's so popular, and year after year we see kids returning, can't wait to come here, can't wait to play here.
Tourism is the largest industry in the state of Rhode Island. It continues to expand, and we like to think that one of the reasons why it is expanding is because we have been able to clean the bay to attract the boating community and other recreational users.
Water and wastewater infrastructure is important because there's only so much water in the world, and it's really the hydrologic cycle just keeps turning it over. And so that's really the connection there, is that water knows no boundaries, and it will flow down rivers, it will flow underground, unless there's a big picture approach to solving the problems that we're all facing, then all we're really doing is moving the problem around.
The Narragansett Bay Commission, employees and staff have risen to the occasion. They've met the obligations and challenges and have restored vitality to Narragansett Bay and its tributaries for all future generations. The Bay now beckons and invites all of its citizens to enjoy it in all of its grandeur. But I think we were very optimistic at the time about rising to the occasion, and I think history will show that we were successful in meeting those challenges.